Okay, so let's solve this question, right? This question is of 2 marks, right? Let's read it carefully and then solve it, right? The question states that the details of prices of 2 items P and Q, right? So these 2 items P and Q, the details of them have been provided in this table, right? Above table. The ratio of cost of P to the cost of Q is given to as 3:4, right? This is one piece of information that we are given. Let's write it down. Why not? So we know that the cost price of P divided by the cost price of Q is basically equals to 3/4. One piece of information, right? The discount or is the cost is calculated as the difference between the market price and the selling price. Okay, this is a definition of discount that they have provided. That part we can very easily see, that market price minus your selling price is basically equals to your discount, right? Now the profit percentage is calculated as the ratio of the difference between the selling price and cost to the cost, right? So basically this formula they have basically mentioned in words, right? So this is a very simple formula. We have all studied this in 9th and 10th, right? Now what are they asking for? The discount on the item Q as a percentage of its market price, right? So we have to calculate, we have to basically find the discount divided by market price and then make it that into a percent. Okay, now at first glance this question seems a bit daunting, it seems a bit difficult, and that is true because a lot of information here is provided that it would not be used, right? I've already solved this question and I know that, for example, this information, this market price of P would be of no use to us while solving this question, right? So this question is an example of TMI, too much information, right? Generally in the world also, when you're trying to solve any problem, there is a lot of information that is irrelevant to your what you're trying to solve, right? So you have to basically either remove that information, either go through every single thing and then see, okay, this might not be useful, this would be useful. But to do that discrimination, you must be able to you must have a very clear goal, right? And what the goal over here is to solve this question, right? And this is what they are demanding. So let's do that from that portion so that we can actually sort out the information that is given to us and get to an answer. And if we do it properly, we will be able to do it in short amount of time, right? So they are basically asking from us that the answer is going to be equal to discount on Q divided by your market price of Q, right, times 100, because it is a percentage that we want to find, right? So this is going to give us what? The discount of Q from this formula given over here can be simplified further, can be written as discount of can be written as market price of Q minus the selling price of Q by the market price of Q, right? Very good. So from this, what all information we already know, right? So from this table, right, this is the entry for Q. We don't know the cost of it, we know the profit margin for it, and we know the market price for it, right? So market price is already known to us. We already know the market price. Now what is going to be your selling price, right? The selling price we do not really know, right? So how can we find the selling price if we don't really know the market price? We already know, but the selling price we need to find, right? So from what all information do we know about the selling price? We know that the selling price does not come in this formula, right? This formula that they have given to us does not really present anything regarding selling price, while this thing does give us the selling price, right? But discount we have not been told, so we cannot use this formula over here. Okay, do we know something else, right? Is there any other formula provided to us in this question? Yeah, this formula is provided to us in this question, that is profit percentage, which we know apparently over here for Q is basically equals to your selling price minus your cost price, right? The cost price is not known to us. Okay, fine, the cost price is not known to us, but this information and this information, the relation between these is given over here, right? So from this, if we know the value of the cost price of P, we can find the value of cost price of Q. Very easy. So we can have the cost price of Q, apply it over here, right? Apply this cost price over here, apply this cost price right over here, and your profit percentage right over here, and you can directly calculate your selling price. It's a very simple direct forward deduction. From that, once you have the selling price, you can directly calculate the answer. It's a very simple question, right? But you must be must have practiced to distill out information, to play with information, right? I have certainly good amount of practice with this. That's why I was able to notice, and I want to make you understand how you should solve it, so that you know how you can practice, so to basically develop this kind of analysis, right? So let's do this. Very simple, but obviously you must do the steps. There is no shortcut. You must do the steps, right? So from this information, I'm going to first arrange this equation in such a way so that it can directly apply the value of Cp, which we already know, to find Cq. Cp for Q. Cp for Q can go to the right side, and this whole thing can go to the left side, right? Giving us what? Let's just write it over here, right? So Cp of Q is basically equals to your Cp of P times your 4 has gone to the up and 3 has gone to down, so that is going to give us 4 by 3 times 4 by 3, right? And what is the value for Cp? Cp of P? Cp of P is 5400. Okay, can be used. 5400 times 4 by 3. 3 can be used to cut this, and that is going to give us what? 1800, right? Times 4, right? What is 18 times 4? Let's just keep it over here. We can use the calculator at any time, right? So let's just keep it like this, because factorization can also sometimes require extra work at later point, right? So it's not always that we can directly have to solve everything. Some kind of simplification is useful, because dividing this by 3 simplifies it very directly. That's why I did it. But multiplication over here can only make it more complex, so I'm not doing it right now. Let's move ahead. We know the cost price, we know the profit. Let's apply that to this equation. What do we get? 25 comes over here. Now this percentage sign that is used over here now, so people sometimes make the mistake of dividing 25 by 100 and then applying it, right? Generally that is basically wrong, because this formula is calculated like this. This percentage, normally if 95% is written, it is genuinely equals to 0.95. That is correct. But profit percentage over here is the whole name. Percentage is not provided to profit at a later point. Don't commit that mistake. It is a stupid mistake, right? So from this, let's apply it over there, right? So we have the formula that the profit percentage is basically equals to your selling price minus cost price by cost price. Cost price we already know comes from here, but I'm not going to apply cost price directly, because I'm going to first simplify it so that we can directly apply the value and find. So we have to find this value, right? So this thing must come to the opposite side, and everything else should go to the other side of the equal to sign, so that you can directly apply it in a systematic manner, right? So with that being present, I'm going to take this Cp to the left hand side, and then take this negative to plus it to the left side, right? What is that going to give us? Give me the selling price is going to be equal to profit percent times your Cp by plus Cp, right? And that is going to give me what? I can take Cp common, and I get 1 plus profit percent, right? And this whole thing has to be multiplied by 100 also, no? So that part I missed, right? So that part I missed. It's a very big blunder actually, because if I were to take this to the left hand side, it becomes 1 by 100, right? And from that, if I were to multiply Cp over here and then add Cp over here, this 1 is going to divide by 100. This profit percentage, this part is going to be divided by 100, right? With that being present, let's apply the values, and we can directly find the answer. That is going to give us Cp is 1800 times 4, as is present right over here, and your 1 plus profit percentage for Q was given as what? As 25, right? As 25 it was given. So 25 by 100 is going to give me what? 1 by 4, right? This 1 plus 1 by 4 gives what? 5 by 4, right? 4 can be cut, and that thing gives us what? This whole thing gives us 5 times 1800 is going to give me 9, basically not so 9000. That is what this is going to give me. Selling price for Q we have found, right? Applying this 9000 in value into this equation, right? That basically your answer, and market price being given as 10,000. So what does this thing becomes? This thing becomes your 10k minus 9k by 10k. K over here represents 1000, right? It is a standard representation which I'm using, times 100, right? So this thing becomes what? This thing cut from this will become 1k. K can be removed. So 1 by 10 times 10 is going to give me 10, right? So which one of the options matches 10? Option C, right? So I mean, it's a simple question, but you need practice and you need very clear understanding of what all you are trying to find, and you must be able to sort out the information in a meaningful manner, right? To give you better visualization of how I did it, how the information in this question was actually sorted out, I'm going to give you that also in a better visualization, right? So over here, the information that was provided to us was what? The information was provided to us was the cost price portion, the selling price portion, the discount, right? This discount and selling price, that is the whole of the information that we were discussing, right? And what did we wanted to find? We wanted to find the selling price of Q, right? We want to find the selling price of Q because your answer depended upon your selling price and your market price, right? And this part I've shown over here, that the answer over here depended upon your market price of Q and your selling price of Q, right? Now market price we already knew, the selling price we knew depended upon your profit percentage and your cost percentage, and cost of Q actually, and the cost of P could be used to calculate cost of Q given the ratio that was given to us, right? So from this, in this order, we were able to find cost of Q. From cost of Q and profit percentage of Q and the relationship that was given, we were able to find the selling price of Q, and from selling price of Q and the market price of Q, we were able to find the answer, right? All this was happening at the same point. We were basically neglecting the information such as the selling price of P, the profit percentage of P, and the market price of P. We were not considering them because that was part of TMI, too much information which was not relevant, right? That was actually happening, and we found the answer by that measure, right? And I hope that you must have been able to solve this question by yourself, and this video served as a validation. If you learned something new, I hope that is very good. And with that, I will meet you in the next video.